Yeah. Mute is there.
Good morning, Sabah, Malaysia, and the world. Okay, today we have a great topic. It's called fixing hanging bridges. It's whether is it the government's job or is it ours? And today we have three panelists, and they are Sabahans who make a difference. I will introduce you first to Fauzia Stevens. She's the founder and chairperson of Persatuan Jangkauan Kasih Pitas. It's also called Reach Out, kan? Okay, and
Yeah.
then the second panelist is Datuk Johnny Mositun. He is the former Sabah Deputy Speaker, and he's also Parti Bersatu Sabah Vice President. And then the third panelist is Anwar Ghani. He's the Managing Director of North Borneo Explorer Sendirian Berhad. They're in charge of the famous Trans Borneo four-wheel drive expedition. He was telling us about his experience, and he's also the trustee of Sabar. Sabar is an NGO that fights for Sabar right, and they're quite Sabar, I think. And then he's also coordinator of REACT. Okay, we go straight to the point. I will ask the first question will be, why are three of you all, I've known you all, and then you all are involved in fixing hanging bridges. You are also very strong in terms of charity work in around Sabah, etc., etc. So my question is, why are you all involved in fixing hanging bridges? We start with Fauzia Stevens.
Oh, hi, Philip, and hi, everybody. To tell you the truth, I'll use the word I was jobbed in for a start. But thinking about it, I have been involved in community services for quite a number of years, and Reach Out actually was born out of the first wave of the COVID-19 in March. Was it last year? Yeah.
The year before.
The year before. Oh gosh, that's how long we've been. And Reach Out was born out of this COVID pandemic 2 years ago, basically. But personally, I have been doing a lot of community service way before that, even in my own capacity. So being asked to be involved in repairing bridges, I don't know anything about bridges really, the suspension bridges, nothing at all. However, with all the issues that's going on now since this flooding has started, children not being able to go to school properly, older citizens not being able to go to clinics, or people from going from one point to the other because of this flooding, the question of suspension bridges has come up. And I think that's one structural things that needs to be fixed in Sabah, the whole of Sabah, not just one area. I think there must be hundreds or thousands bridges that will have to be fixed, or even at some point, I think some has to be rebuilt. Yeah. And so anything that concerns the community as a whole, I like to be part of. And talking about repairing bridges and all that, I think it's going to be a big task because, if you don't have roads, a lot of people in the kampong depend very much on hanging bridges, suspension bridges, to do simple things like carrying their products from their land to sell to another place. So in terms of hanging bridges, I think the government and people as a whole has really got to give it a serious thought. Yeah. And so, yeah, thanks for inviting me in Sabah Talk to actually head this committee we have just established. We haven't actually given it a name yet, but we have established a committee consisting of seven people, where we have civil engineers, people who have experience in building bridges, suspension bridges. So we are actually a group of people who really want to assist people in the remote areas where they depend very much on hanging bridges for communication. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks,
I
Fauzia,
think
for
that's about it.
yeah. Thanks so much for your great contribution to Sabah. Now we go to Datuk Johnny Mositun. Maybe he can explain to me about his experience building bridges on his own, using his own money, and later asking for allocation. Ka? Datuk?
Okay, first, I would like to say thank you for inviting me for this program lah. Especially the topic is very interesting. Of course, the topic today is about making whichever bridge, hanging bridge that is developed, especially when what is happening, especially last year when the pandemic and during the pandemic also, of course, we don't have so much fun to do, and of course, the hanging bridge issue that been brought by all our groups leaders, especially I have seen it in Sabato, and of course I'm very upset what have been talking about it, and of course it was mentioned about setting a committee. So I think that is a good, but to my experience, of course. This is the first time that I think I have to speak in the public. But I think the responsibility of the government is to build any infra for the people. And of course, the topic today what we are going to look at is about repairing the hanging bridge that have been mentioned in Sungai Manila. Well, that is, I think, one of few hundred bridges that should, hanging bridge should be repaired. So, on my part, I think I only want to say that, in fact, this responsibility to build any infra, it's come from the government of the previous government, the government of the day now, and one example that I have seen a photograph that it was taken in Sungai Manila about the hanging bridge. So when I saw it, I remember that one of the bridges in my area, that is in Kampung Kaiduan, where was been affected by the big flood on the 15th of September.
The sound is not very good, lah.
Yeah, and can hear? Yeah. So of course, on my side, I have done my personal capacity. Of course, we have already applied some fund from the government, but of course, the government sometimes when approving this project, it will take time. So just because the COVID just over, last year when the school is going to reopen, and then when I see the hanging bridge should be repaired, and of course that hanging bridge is for the student to cross over to the school, and also for the teacher. So I take initiative to ask all the kampung people, and I bought some material and fixed the things until it is can be used until now. Yeah.
Okay,
I don't mean to interfere, Johnny, but the COVID is not over. It has subsided in cases. It is certainly not over.
Yeah, I agree with you.
We're going to live with it for a long, long time.
Yeah, but I was saying about the COVID is not say over during the time, but it is permitted for the school to reopen so that But by the time if the school reopen, then of course we have to build the hanging bridge. So that makes me to initiate to make the bridge so that in the following weeks the student or the teacher can use the hanging bridge to cross over to the school. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Johnny. Just want to explain to the audience. I think we have Anwar Ghani has lost connection. We have lost him. Hopefully, he can come back. So he won't be answering yet because he's lost. Actually, earlier I was lost also. Something happened to our connection. Okay, maybe we just go to the second because we just go to the second question. The second question is first. I would just want to relate my experience about hanging bridges. For me, it's a nostalgic thing. When I grew up, when we go to the kampung, the hanging bridge is a really it's like an adventure actually because they pandai goyang, etc., etc. So you takut when you go to church on Sunday, we have to what call it? 1 minute, I got a call. Okay, Anwar Ghani, our panelist, calling me, so I had to pick up the call. Okay, so it was a great experience actually because the jambatan, etc. They are moving and everything. Okay, but my question now is, I think it's question in the mind of Sabahans, and then you see today also in Moyok there was a case where the bridge was also damaged, and then the school kid can't cross. So the big question is, I'll ask Fuzia first. Whose responsibility is it to fix the jambatan gantung? Is it ini kerajaan punya tanggungjawab ataupun kita punya? Like for example, you all in the Sabah Talk punya group, we call it rukut-rukut, get money here, get money there, and then you yang sendiri gotong royong build the bridge. So whose responsibility is it, do you think?
Well, obviously, it's the government's responsibility. In 100%. Because we are paying tax. Where's that money going to? What is it being used for? Okay. Supposedly Sabah gets millions or billions of high ringgit on a yearly basis for infrastructure. What's that being used for? How come we're still very, very, very far behind in terms of development? We are the poorest state. Hello, Malaysia is Sabah is the poorest state in Malaysia. Why? When we have our own oil, something's gone wrong somewhere. We have nothing to show in terms of our richness in natural resources. We've got nothing to show. We are still lacking in basic amenities, for example, to uplift the people's welfare. Okay, so we have to correct it somewhere. Something is wrong somewhere, and we really have to address the problems of what's going on. So definitely, we're talking about fixing. So you've got fixing or building the suspension bridges, which is there are two ways of doing it. So I think at the moment, we know that the country is experiencing very bad economic situation. So we as the public can assist in trying to solve all these problems. But first and foremost, definitely the government has that big responsibility. And the state of the suspension bridges now, I'm just wondering why it has come to this. Why wasn't all these fixed many, many, many years ago? Why only now is it coming up? So it's the responsibility of those people in charge within their own areas. Something like Dr. Johnny was saying, sometimes he has to use his own money. No, that's not fair. I mean, that's a good YB because he represents his state and he's using his own initiative to make sure that things like suspension bridges are repaired. But what about all the other, I don't know, how many kawasans do we have now in terms of politics? What, 70, 80, whatever?
73.
Right?
73 kawasan. State seats.
So, Can you imagine what's happening in other areas? So if you ask me, it's the government's responsibility, and it's different now because we don't really govern ourselves. We depend very much. We have to beg for money from the federal government, whereas we are, in fact, our oil is actually subsidizing the rest of Malaysia. And yet we Sabah people, with Sabah government, the people of Sabah, have to ask. Why should we have to ask? We should be allocated certain amount, at least, if not equal, at least, I don't know, what is it? Maybe 30, 40%, whatever it is, so that we don't have to keep asking. So people don't have to keep begging, so that you don't have to give them handouts all the time. I give you an example. Just recently, and I apologize if I'm going to offend anyone, the Prime Minister flew by helicopter from KK. Well, how he got from KL, I believe he used the military airplane, whatever. And then he flew to Pitas, which is the area that I work with, because I come from that area. I was born in that area. He flew there with a helicopter. There were 200 plus people in the evacuation centers, for example. He flew, brought a couple of hundreds of bantuan bakul makanan, whatever it is, and every single one who were in that evacuation center would give 1,000 ringgit. 1,000. What about the people now complaining? What about those people out there, which are thousands and thousands of people, who didn't get anything? They didn't even get assistance to get evacuated from the area. So that's some use of, to me, it's a waste of fund, right? Let's say there were 200 people, they all got 1,000 each, that's 200,000 ringgit that could have gone towards perhaps repairing Jambatan Gantung. Let's say even half of that would have been okay. No, so it's priority. I think that the government have to say priority of where the money goes, and definitely the repair of suspension bridges, Jambatan Gantung, has got to be one of those priorities. Yeah. Oh, okay. We can't hear you.
Can't hear you, Philip.
Okay. Thanks so much, Fauzia, for your passionate appeal on Sabah. And yeah,
there's a question here. Oh, okay.
Yeah, from your sister.
Yes.
You want to read? Okay, I read that. I think there's only one Datuk here, so I don't think the question is addressed to me. Datuk, how many hanging bridges are there in Sabah? And it's asked by Farida Stevens, the famous.
Well, in the whole of Sabah, I think I cannot answer on that. But on my kawasan, I think more than 20 hanging bridge, my kawasan only. So of course, when you talk about hanging bridge, this is high time for all the hanging bridge to be to be repaired. And of course, there are very dilapidated hanging bridge that I have seen, and I have already applied some allocation for it in my kawasan. But unfortunately, until now, it's not been approved yet. But of course, from time to time, I will try to to apply on many issue on this one, so that the government of the day will consider, especially this allocation. Actually, there are many channels that we can channel the allocation for any development, and you can apply through KPLB Persekutuan, KPLB Negeri, and also this ICU. So there are few channels that we can ask for the allocation, but sometimes we also confuse which actually ministry that we should forward the application. But of course, we only channel one channel, but it was not been approved. And last year I have also submitted a few application, not only like the hanging bridge, but like all the bridge for for the kampung people to cross over, like for their car. This is not like a JKR road or whatever roads. This is only in the kampung. But of course, until now, there is no result, and hopefully that what we already heard that there are big allocation from federal and will be allocated to Sabah. And of course, there are also allocation for Sabah, and also there are also fund from the
Susulan
federal
tular satu
government.
laporan polis berhubung seorang.
Yeah. Okay, so
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Dr. Johnny, for asking the question. Before we answer this Angie's question, we lost Anwar Ghani just now. I think he was in the twilight zone of Borneo, thinking about his next expedition, four-wheel expedition to
yeah.
from Sabah to
Kalimantan.
Sarawak to Kalimantan, etc., etc. So we lost you somewhere, Anwar Ghani. Okay, so because we lost you, I'm going to penalize you with two questions. First question will be, Anwar, I've noticed that, kalau ada flood and ada bencana, etc., one of the main important organization in Sabah is the four-wheel drive. Dia yang boleh masuk, kolal masuk lah, God knows lah, tinggi ka, banjir ka, boleh masuk and everything. So I've noticed that you've been involved in a lot of this kind of disaster kind of work. So why are you involved in the helping fixing the jambatan gantung? And number two, whose job is it? Is it your job to go to the kampung and fix the bridges, ataupun is it kerajaan punya? Thanks Anwar.
Okay, thank you, Philip. Firstly, thank you to Kopi FM for arranging this forum. First question, why am I involved? Kan? And then you're talking about the 4x4 community as well. Basically, for me, getting involved in activities like this is basically a value inculcated to me by my late father. He was very much for helping people. I've seen him working out, helping students, helping kampung people and all that. So from a young age, I see what he did to help people, and he instilled that value in me. So I'm just carrying it forward. And in a way, it has sort of become like a good habit, as and when I can do it. We have helped a few places. As you know, Elmer Fauzia will attest to this, that in January 2020 last year, when there were major floods in Pitas, the 4x4 group led by T Diesel and the Transponia group, they went and carried 20,000 worth of bakalan that was obtained by Elmer through her own efforts, personal efforts, from her personal friends, supporters and donors. So the 4x4 team did the logistics and the transportation there. And then I think the village people never saw so many eggs in their life. Okay. And then even as early as and more recent, at the Sugut floods, the trooper Isuzu D-Max group led by Hilary Francis went in, and then they helped to access the place because it was a war zone. And then their vehicles, because of the special equipment, they went in. They lost a lot of axles and all that, but that's part and parcel of what they do. And then they sent in food, they sent in water, and help out the people to clear up and all that. And as long as 1997, during the height of the El Nino, I personally and my group then, working together with Masidi Manjun, Dato' Masidi Majun, he got the bakalan, and then we deliver. In that year, I delivered 5.5 tons to Sonsogon, Magandai, and the area in Pitas. But that is nothing compared to what has happened since COVID. Some of my friends in Ranau, they have delivered 22 tons, but that's over a lengthy period of time, over almost 2 years lah. Okay, every month they go and they send 300, 500 from YB, Jonathan, or wherever, and then they will send it. And one of the these days I don't go so much anymore. So you are incorrect saying I'm active. I'm no longer very active, but I am behind the scenes. I give you an example. When they started vaccinating, I was watching the numbers very carefully, and then I was hoping for the numbers to reach 80% by a certain date, so I can have my event again, because you needed a certain threshold to be able to allow inter-district travel and interstate travel. So when I was watching the figures, you had all these people that were unvaccinated, but mostly in the rural areas, deep rural areas. So I contacted Dato' Masidi. He's head of MKN. And then I said, Dato', these deep areas, why don't you use the 4x4 group to go in? The tougher it is, the more they like it, the more they enjoy it, right? That's the way it goes. And I said, we just give them some petrol, some money for some food, itu biar diorang bayar sendiri lah. Okay? And then they let them go in. So he said, okay. And then 5 minutes later, the head of immunization called me up. And I had spoken earlier to Faiz Nordin, the president of the Sabah Foil Drive Association, and we had agreed to provide the list of all the 4x4 clubs in the 26 areas around Sabah. And Masidi explained to me that disaster management has been decentralized to the district level. So it is up to them to decide where to go, where to immunize. Okay? Decentralization. And the thing is that, okay, so what we did was we gave them the list of all the clubs in Sabah, 26 clubs in Sabah. And what we did then, we released the Kraken. You heard of the phrase, release the Kraken? So we told them, look, in this place, you got so many cars. In this district, you got so many cars, so many cars. You know how many vehicles was made available for the purposes of outreach? Can you guess, Philip?
From the
I
Four-Wheel
think
Drive
72
Club.
times 10, around 7,000 lah.
No lah, not so many lah.
700.
1,578 vehicles, and they were available to help to go and take the vaccination team into deep jungle and the most remote areas lah. So,
Okay.
and
Anwar, because
yeah.
we are talking about hanging bridge. Your 4-wheel drive narration is great, but can I ask you the second question? The second question is, whose job is it to fix the Jambatan Gantung? Is it your 4-wheel drive near group ataupun it's the government?
We help, but whose job is it to build the hanging bridges? I communicated with 3 YBs, Dato' Joachim, Dato' Bung Mokhtar, Abchao JKR, and Dato' Abidin Madingkir from Baginatan. Everybody says that is the district office, pejabat daerah. Also, it would be under rural development. And but at the same time, for instance, like Dato' Joachim said, funds for repair and new bridges can come from the federal, a state, or the ADUN, as Dato' Johnny Mositun mentioned just now, KPLB, or federal government or state and the ICU. But at the same time, I do not believe that it is the function or the duty of the district office or all these bodies alone, because I believe very much in self-help, and I think as an example, you have the Starfish Foundation. They build hostels and they build bridges, and they educate the people from the rural areas, and they teach them about agriculture, certain crops where they grow and they buy it back and all that. Starfish, for instance, built a 600-foot hanging bridge in Ranau. They saw the need, they designed the bridge, they raised their own funds. It cost them 300,000. So question is, how many people can raise that kind of money? Right? 600 feet, 200, 300,000. So how much is that per feet? You just do your calculation. They are very far in between where people can raise that kind of money. And of course, the biggest body in the state is the state government. And they should hold the responsibility for the primary responsibility for building, maintaining, and repairing the hanging bridges. Does that answer your question?
Yes, very clear. Thanks so much, Anwar. Okay, I just go straight to this comment here. Not just Jambatan Gantung issue. How about internet, telco connectivity? Everyone is talking about 5G now and hardly get any connection in most part of Sabah. That's by NG Chintan. Okay, that will be another great forum punya topic. We go to the third question, and I think I'll ask this first to Datuk Johnny Mositun. The question is, for me lah, this Jambatan Gantung thing is like, I don't know, I've been using Jambatan Gantung since 1970, and then now is 2022, and then macam we don't have a proper Jambatan Gantung or something. So for Sabahan sudah, that is what, 50 years sudah kata. Oh, I'm revealing my age. Tapi sudah 50 years sudah tu kan. So how do we move forward from this little problem of fixing Jambatan Gantung and not worrying about whether we got 6G lah, 7G, 8G and everything. So what is the way forward for Sabah? We start with Datuk Johnny Mositun.
Yeah, okay. I think I mixed with Malay. Yeah, terima kasih to Philips about the topic just now that been mentioned by Engi Chin, as I know. Thank you. And especially this issue, I think I'm not talking about this issue in all the other area in most of the 73 kawasan, but to my experience in my new area, that is Limbahau, I think this issue is already been brought for quite some time. And I still remember I think this issue about telco. And this was been mentioned by the MCMC in 2020. Yeah, 2020.
Datuk, sorry, we're actually talking about hanging bridge actually. Yang telco tu is another another topic lah tu. We just talk about how do we go way forward dari fixing Jambatan Gantung to how do we go ke depan.
Okay, I think the question just now is about building the Jambatan Gantung. I think the Jambatan Gantung, some area we still need for the Jambatan Gantung, where of course this Jambatan Gantung is only accessible by the people in that particular kampung, where of course there are also road to the other side, but it's not been built make a bridge. So I think for time being, as we see, because of the Jambatan Gantung is already been dilapidated, then of course I think in my area we still have to repair all this Jambatan Gantung. And once we repair this one, of course, we will go forward about building bridges in the village. Uh, Bridges actually is more convenient for people where they can drive their car through one side to the other side. But I think for this hanging bridge in my area, I think we still need for this one. But of course, as I see it now, and I know that there are a big bridge that they are going to build, especially one particular area that been planned, and we are hoping that the government will pursue as soon as possible, especially the bridge in Kampung Kaiduan, where not only the bridge but the road must be maintained and must be sealed, because it is been already promised for quite some time during I think during PBS time also already been built, and after that we have planned also during the Barisan Nasional government, and it's already been approved. But until now, we are still waiting for the new road to be built, especially in Kampung Kaiduan. I mean, this is the most critical issue that being brought in my area, especially in Kawasan Dun Limahau. Of course, there are also some road that to be sealed area, but I think the most important thing what I say is about Kampung Tampasak to Kaiduan road must be immediately, or of course, I'm hoping that they will do it in a matter of time, as I know it is been approved by the federal government. So this is one of the road that links some of the village in the kampung, especially in Kampung Kaiduan, Kampung Wisuang, and Kampung Bolotikon. They are all rural area, where I'm only mentioning about few, but of course some area like near the town, like in Papar, there are also about two bridges that really need to be repaired. Yeah, and these two hanging bridge actually is for most of the bridges used by the student, crossing from one kampung like Kampung Limputung to SK or SMK Limbahau. So I hope the authority will consider to approve this request. And on my part, under UPPM office, I'm hoping that our applications, of course, what did Mr. Anwar Ghani was saying, that the responsibility is not only by pejabat daerah, but I think the channel is, of course, from UPPM. Whatever we submit the request from the village, we have to submit through pejabat daerah, and pejabat daerah will channel the applications to sometimes they channel to KPLB, they channel to SDO, and of course they also channel to the state Ministry of Finance. So this is the things that sometimes when we channel all this application, we don't know actually when are they going to approve it. Then I just want to mention that of course last year I have applied through my office under UPPM at least 20 over project that are supposed to be for the people in my kawasan in Dun Limahau, especially for the hanging bridge, for the road, the Kampung road, and also like water gravity. That I think that is necessity for the Kampung people. So apart from that, of course, today we are talking about the hanging bridge. As the topics, the hanging bridge. So we're hoping that when we talk about hanging bridge, there is no point also to build the hanging bridge if the other side of the other side of the kampung, this water gravity is not been maintained. So I think this is vice versa for development for each of the village in most of the area in Sabah. So I'm hoping that what we are mentioning today the government of the day now will be considered. And of course, I would like to refer what Juan Fauzia was talking about just now about we are producing oil, but we don't have much fun in Sabah. And I think this is issue that should be brought by the leaders in Sabah and face it to the federal government. And we hope the federal government will hear what is the request from the Sabah people. Then I think, of course, what Anwar was saying just now, that we have already been 50 years over Merdeka, and yet our infra in Sabah is still back. Back from what we can see from 1970 until now. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks so much to Dato' Johnny Mositun. I hope that the power that be hear his plea for more, kesian juga kan, we have to plea ni, for more funding. Okay, we go straight to Fauzia Stevens, and maybe you can explain to us what is the Hala Tuju actually? How does Sabah maju ke depan? What's our way forward from this kind of our current situation? Fauzia, thanks.
Well, I've been thinking about this for about 2 days now. And I think when you talk about moving forward, we really have to analyze the problem within our own system with what's going on. And a few days ago, I think it was on the 17th and 18th of January, there was a conference by the Sabah International Business and Economic Summit, in which an old family friend, also who used to be my tutor, now known as Tan Sri Andrew Sheng. Now, he made a comment, although I wasn't there, it was just quoted to me. He said, "Vision without execution is delusion." And now that is a very, very appropriate view, especially what's going on in Sabah. So when you say, look into the problem at hand, I think in terms of any project to do with infrastructure, such as building things for electricity, for water, roads, hanging bridges, there are two things I see. Well, actually, one very important factor is, and I'm sorry to say again, I'm going to just spit it out, political interference. And that means from applying for a project from the Pengurusi JKK right up to going up to the district office, and then maybe to the Kementerian, the rural development people. You have to have, from what I know, because I interviewed a lot of Pengurusi JKKs who were Pengurusi JKKs during Berjaya days, who were Pengurusi JKKs during PBS days, who were Pengurusi JKKs BN until today. So, and they've all said one thing: there are too many political interference. To get any application in, you've got to have sokongan daripada YB, or sokongan daripada ahli lembaga district council. What's that? I'm sorry, my Malay is not good. So you have to have sokongan from this before it goes over forward. Now, another thing they can do, your application can directly go to the ministry, but you have to be very original. You go there every month and chase up. You might be lucky if your project gets approved in 4, 5, 6 months. If you're not lucky, it can go up to 32 years even. Where I've just come across one guy, he was single, Pengurusi JKK at that time. He was single and he applied for this Jalan Raya, which was 3.8 kilometers. Itu saja. From the time he was single, now he's married with kids. Ada budak-budak, and one of the son is about to get married, and that was 32 years ago apparently. And I said to him, about 6 months ago, kau pergi camp di pejabat kau punya YB, kau pergi camp di luar dia punya rumah sampai dia jumpa kau. So he finally met him. 32 years later, for 3.8 kilometers, he got 150,000. What can you do with 150,000 when you're building a road to cover 5 kampungs? That's only 3.8 kilometers. Okay, so that's one instance. Another instance is, for example, if you're lucky to get the project you apply for, the fund is sent to the district office. Now, sometimes the district office can't actually give you the project that you applied for because it is sent somewhere else by a person yang lebih berkuasa, used for another project. So that's political interference. So to go forward, I think this has to change. This has to go. I think this idea of decentralizing is very good, but you must give the power to the people who are supposed to do the work. That's what they're being paid for. District officers are there to do what? Bukan goyong kaki or to be told what to do, where to do, when to do, how to do. No, he is supposed to know what to do. So let him do his job. And that is not happening. I'm not sure if it happens anywhere else, but I'm pretty sure it happens to the majority of district office. Okay, so that's political interference. Forget all that. If you want to move forward, you must be a YB yang berkhidmat, yang what is it? What's my Malay? It's not so good. Yang do the work instead of just
yang berkhidmat.
Yeah, berkhidmat.
Yang berkhidmat, I think.
Yeah.
Yang prihatin.
Well, no, I'm trying to use the word YB there. Okay.
Yang berkhidmat, YB.
Yang berkhidmat, and there's another one they always say, yang something else. Anyway, but to give that YB a better, connotation rather than somebody who's just sitting there and ordering people what to do when he himself doesn't know what he's doing. Okay, so vision without execution is vision. It means, to me, it means if you have a vision but you can't execute it, then you're just disillusioned. The riot becomes disillusion because you cannot fulfill things that you promised to do. And this has been happening for years and years and years. So we have to change that. The way, for me, I would suggest with what's going on, you work together with non-governmental organizations, NGOs, you work with foundations or any organization that's related to real community work. We are here to assist the government. We are not your enemy. The enemy of the government is themselves. Okay, we are here to assist you just like we did when the pandemic happened. Okay, I myself volunteered to make those face shields to donate. That project was actually, I cannot say who, but funded by somebody who wanted to, help society in his own way. And we managed to get people to donate, to send food aid, okay? I was very lucky in my area. There was one kampung called Kampung Lok Dekaan. The roads, because there are no roads, the only road that existed is a road that was used by contractors who collected softwood and stuff. And then when they finished, the road's no longer in use. They're all fishermen. This land is near the fish. and they couldn't go by sea because the season, the monsoon season, couldn't allow us to go in by sea. I was very lucky. The Layang Layang alumni, the helicopter, they offered free assistance to deliver all our food supplies for that kampung. So that's why I say we work together with the association, non-governmental association. We are not your enemies. We help when it's necessary, and when you need help, I think if the government needs help, it's up to you to let us know. Instead of treating us like we are your enemies. At one stage, there were a lot of donors for food aid, and the government said you have to go through the district office. What the hell for? We do all, we are the one who provides the transportation, the fuel, the food, everything. Why should we go through another body? You should be doing it yourselves. Okay, so I think for me that is the way to go forward. Decentralize, ask assistance, because we are always willing to assistance. So while we give the NGOs respect and show them appreciation, and we will be more than willing to help you in any way we can for the sake of the people. And while we are at this, I'm going to be very bold. Two things. One is that there are many non-government organizations that does not have tax exemption for us or for those who are donating. So I would like to plead here for the government, the LHDN, to provide us exemption status, for bona fide, of course, for registered NGOs, not any old NGOs, okay? And the other thing I read today in a newspaper, and I can't remember which newspaper it was, that Yayasan Sabah made 500 million profit to do with, I don't know, replanting or something of, was it palm oil, whatever it was, something like that. Well, I'm going to be very bold. There are a lot of, in terms of this repair of bridges, hanging bridges, we are just forming the committee now. Perhaps you would like to donate 10% of your, your profit. And I'm sure that will go a long way in assisting the government to repair bridges. And there was a comment just a while ago about internet. That's a different ball game altogether. I think we need to discuss it another time, but definitely it falls into infrastructure, basic infrastructure that the whole of Sabah needs, which is very, very lacking.
Okay. Thanks so much, Fauzia. Julian keyword, it reminded me YB means yang berhormat. I almost forgot.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Maybe Anwar, maybe just quickly on your thoughts on the way forward for Sabah in terms of this issue of bridge, and then we go to Rebecca's Chong question. She's with Vibes, if I'm not mistaken. Vibes news portal. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Philip. I'm going to go macro, then I'm going to go micro and micro. What is happening in the state now at this point in time under the present state government, I think is very commendable, because we are getting some of our rights back. For instance, in fisheries, we got the right to issue licenses in the continental shelf. Oil, we got the Sabah Gas Master Plan about gas and marketing and petroleum derivative options. We are negotiating for the 40% to come to be for review. Of course, that's a difficult area by itself, because before you get your 40%, you need to see what is the financial situation of the federal government. And also under Article 112D, Part 4 of Schedule 9, you have to show what you're going to use the 40% for. So that may be a long time coming. And lately, we heard about the massive amounts of money that you can get from carbon credit. Okay, so kalau kira imbasan ringkas kan, maybe all this will bring us 5 billion in addition to the grants under the federal constitution. So, but all this is meaningless unless it reaches the people. You know, no point talking about getting billions of dollars and you don't even have basic infrastructure. The problem in Sabah now is that we need development. We need infrastructure. And one of the infrastructure are hanging bridges and roads. Don't talk about railway yet. Okay. In addition to the problem about hanging bridges, you've got school children going by sea without safety vest and all this kind of thing. That's another issue by itself. Okay. One of the reasons why I'm really keen to help out in this because we're concerned about the well-being of children. Two things I hate. One is seeing abuse of children. I get crazy when I see all these videos being viralized about children getting abused and all that. And then the other thing is that when I see children in danger, and for a child in their school clothes, in their baju kurung, trying to negotiate a half-inch cable without the planks and all that, that is danger. What are you waiting for? Somebody to die? You know, maybe some have already died, but we want to avoid this kind of cases. So hanging bridges are a way of life. Hanging bridges is part of the infrastructure that we need to build. So if we want to build hanging bridges around the state, Datuk, you said just now in your kawasan in Limbahau, you got 30 hanging bridges, right? 30 kah? So let's say there are 30 hanging bridges per district, per dun. Okay, you got 73. So that makes 2190 or 2170 hanging bridges around the state. So I think the first thing you'll do is to find out what's the problem. Do an audit at the district level and find out how many bridges you got, how many of them needs repairs, what state of maintenance do they require and all that. Okay? And then what you do is the district office identifies all this problem and it becomes a priority because it's a major means of connectivity, of movement. It's very important. You know, from village to village, the way like Fauzia was saying just now, moving their produce, the children's going to school, people moving around, is a very important part of infrastructure. So we have to start thinking and prioritizing about hanging bridges because they're so important to rural life. And the other thing is, if, for instance, after these bridges have been identified and you study what is their status and condition and what needs to be done, okay, the district office should prioritize this. And a relevant YB should bring it up in the DUN, Dewan Undangan Negeri, and point this out that, okay, the Ministry of Rural Development or under JKR, how much do you have for rural bridges? Maybe there's an amount. I haven't managed to check this up. Maybe there's none. But is it sufficient to provide for and service and maintain or repair the 2,000 over bridges? The figure is just something we just multiplied lah. Okay, the other thing is every district, what they can do once they identify the bridges, then they can talk to the local NGOs, the local 4x4 clubs, the foundations that's busy operating in that area and tell them, okay, this area, 5 bridges needs repair. Let's do something about it. And then that which they can do, that they can repair, they do so. To build a bridge, by the calculation that Starfish did for 600 feet of bridge is $500 per feet. That's the cable, that's the pillar, and then you're talking about the planks and all the wires and all that. So again, like I say, it's a question of it's too big a job for NGOs to do. It's too big a job for individual clubs to do. And maybe it's not getting priority from the district office and the powers that be. But it's time to highlight this issue and to give some priority to it. Maybe, the government can appoint a task force to just specifically look into this before somebody dies. Before you see somebody falling off the cable, because it is precarious, but it's scary. I'm scared of heights, and I wouldn't want me or anybody I know, any child or anybody for that matter, going through a dangerous passage like that. And somehow or other, right, to get more people involved, you have to find a way to make helping, building, making, construction, repairing, maintaining of hanging bridges sexy. Okay? That, come on, guys, let's go and build this bridge. This is for 200 people in the kampong. Everybody come. You all come, and it's obviously next to river, right?
Hey,
So we
Anwar,
can
how to
have a
make it
picnic.
sexy? Anwar, how to make hanging bridge sexy?
Maybe you can invite the Unduk Ngadau for that area to come and participate or something like that lah. And also the whole,
Mr. Muscleman.
boleh juga, they can go in their shots and pose while people are walking on the bridge. And the thing is that it can be a family outing bah. Because you're next to a river, you find a campsite, you set up your camp down there, and then after you enjoy yourself, have a barbecue at the end of the day, and have a sing along with the kampong people. No, make it community involved. Get all the elements of having a fun time in.
Community involvement.
Community involvement.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, at the end of the evening, everybody can, imbibe in their favorite beverage or whatever. Try some of the local brew. This is Sabah, That's but that's part of the things I'm talking about, because you have to strike this at all levels, lah. You have to do the audit, get the budget, devolve the power, get the community involved, and make it sexy.
Okay, thanks, Anwar. Done, kan? Okay,
Yeah.
Anwar, since you all have the committee, Fozia and you are in that committee, please invite me for your sexy gotong royong. I will try the local brew. You all can fix the bridge lah, and I will supervise like a mandur. Okay, we go straight to this question by Rebecca Chong. She's from Vibes, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, I think you all can read the question. She says, do our speaker think that we should have proper bridges instead of hanging bridges? Taking the Sungai Manila hanging bridge as an example, the orang tua of the village were unable to use the bridge even before it became dilapidated lah. And then she said, memang takut juga tu goyang-goyang. Okay, and then she asked, should we keep repairing our bridges? Is building proper bridges a way forward? Thank you, speaker. Okay, I give you all 1 minute lah to answer this. We start with Dato' Johnny Mositun. Satu minit saja, Dato'. Dato', kena mute. Mute? Okay.
Okay. I think the question that have been posed by our viewer just now, I think the state need to address to the federal governments about sealing the roads in the interior, then to build the low level crossing bridge, but so that the vehicle can cross over. That's what we think. But of course, the hanging bridge is still needed in most area, and we hope that the topic that we talking today is about repairing hanging bridge. So I think this thing what we have been been pointed by Mr. Anwar about gotong royong. And then, of course, when we talk about gotong royong, what I did in my kawasan, of course, at first I have to budget how much that we have to spend to repair. And when we got the money that supposed to be budgeted, then we will carry the work. Just like what I say, example in Kampung Kaiduan, where the student is crossing over to the school. So, like NGO, of course, I'm very appreciate that you have taken this initiative to go look forward about doing gotong royong for for the repairing. But of course, the repairing is, of course, you cannot get the money directly from the government because this one you have to apply through project. While of course the in my area, of course, because my area have no YBs, and of course I am considered to be the leaders here, and I'm thankful to the state government that I was been appointed as a PVM here, where I'm responsible to look after from the application from JPKK, and then after that, my office in UPPM will forward to DO, to district office. Then after that, the district office will send it to the relevant ministry for for fund. So this is the process that we are doing at my under my area. So I think this is very standard, things that everyone is doing it in most of the area. But I'm also happy note that if we collect some money and we make it, of course, we have to work together with the relevant leaders in that particular area. But of course, I could say that, of course, when it is emergency, then I think we have to collect some money rather than waiting the approval from the government, for any of the repair or whatever they want to build and in that area. Yeah, that is my comment about that. So I hope for the what have been talking about donation, whatever. Of course, I think I should be thankful to all the most people who really want to give some donation to repay, especially that was mentioning about hanging bridge in Sungai Manila. Then of course I'm very appreciate that if it comes to my area during the time, of course I also want to chip a bit, but I think we have done it, and of course that is the most critical things that we have done the one in Kampung Kaiduan. But of course what I have mentioned that we have about 20 hanging bridge here, and of course this is high time for repair. And of course I can say that it is not still still can be used, but I think it's really need to be repaired, especially the plank and some like all the rotten like barbed wire where cross amongst these between the hanging bridge. So I think this is what I think we should think about, and we hope the relevant authority will really see what is the need from all the area where we know that our state have 73 adun in the whole of Sabah at the moment. So of course we don't know what is the problem in another area, but to my area I'm only talking about my area, and hopefully when all this our specter will hear what we are commenting, then the state government will take action. So I'm hoping that whatever what I have already apply for my area, especially hanging bridge that I have already applied for. I hope this year they will consider it, and some other infra that really need. Number one is of course the road. Of course, by building the roads, of course, people from other villages can easily transport their goods to the main, main district. I mean, to sell whatever they are, they are produce in village. That is the problem that we are facing in my area. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Johnny. Now we go straight to Fauzia. What's your take on the Rebecca's question?
That's a very tricky question, actually. Of course, we all, as NGOs, we all have a vision where every kampong is accessible, and where there are hanging bridges to be replaced by a bridge, a proper bridge. I think it would be correct to say if you've got to weigh the use of a particular bridge. Of course, economists will say, okay, you're going to spend this much money. What are you going to get? Or what are the people inside? What can they do? What sort of business can you open up to these places? But on smaller villages or villages which are quite remote, where even seeing a vehicle, a car in there is rare, I think you have to stick to the hanging bridge, unless of course the government can afford to, because it's not it's very expensive to build bridges, much more expensive. Building hanging bridges is not expensive in terms of money, but I believe from what I have read, it's a time consuming, and time, of course, is also money. But the actual bridge, the concrete build, is very expensive. I don't know how expensive they are because I have no experience, nor do I know the cost of it all. But yeah, certainly I think that would be the ideal vision, to have all hanging bridges be changed into a concrete bridge. That's all I can say. But instead of bridge, I think roads are more important, because when the infrastructure that's so important, I think, for an area to develop, if you provide them with roads, amenities, the electricity and the water, people will go and stay there, and those who are already there, the whole world is open to them. The people from the areas outside of that kampong, let's say, allows them to go and visit where they are, and those people within that kampong allows them to go outside the area to see what's happening. I give you an example. I mentioned earlier about this village, the 3.8 kilometers, who after 32 years managed to get 150,000 to open the road. And obviously it's just a road, a gravel road, that's just going to be, the path is just going to be pushed just to connect these kampongs. But when I went there, when I first went to visit that place without these roads, that was 2 years ago. I think it was sometime like October 2 years ago. I hiked 10 kilometers up and down hills and valleys and so forth. But it was a beautiful experience. It was very tiring. But what I saw there, the soil was so black. So it was so suitable for growing fruits and vegetables and stuff, and which they did. I saw coconuts, I saw corn, rice, hill rice. There's some, of course, a lot of people had rubber tapping rubbers. I saw one estate that was a palm oil, and God knows how he carried his produce because there's no road. He would have had to I don't know, maybe employ someone to carry at the back and walk down, 10 kilometers to the nearest river where they can load it to a sampan to get to the nearest village where they sell the produce. So that, I think, road, once you open up a road, is probably, to me, is more important than concrete bridges at the moment. There's a lot of places there which have no way to have communication whatsoever except by walking, either through hanging bridges or walking to the river and use the sampan. So yeah, it's ideal. I think it's good to have that intention, but I think at the moment, building road infrastructure is probably more important
Okay,
compared
thanks so
to.
much. Thanks so much, Fozia, for your take. We go with Anwar Ghani.
Yes,
Anwar?
ideally, total connectivity through roads and bridges which can take vehicles across and all that should be the target. But total connectivity is subject to many things. I mean, it's subject to budget, it's
Yeah.
subject to terrain, it's subject to the economy of the place and all that. So what do you do with places where, as Fauziah was saying, there are no economies of scale for that area? So you still have to communicate, you still have to travel using hanging bridges. And I think in that respect, hanging bridges are still required in remote and even not so remote areas. And they will be so required for a long, long time. It is a fact of life that will be with us for in the foreseeable future. So I go back again, you just gave 1 minute, right? So I go back again to, I think what should be done is that there should be an audit, there should be proper budgeting, there should be empowerment at the district level, there should be approval at the fastest possible time, and there should be collaboration where necessary, and they should execute and implement the repair of hanging bridges.
Okay, that was short and sweet by Anwar Ghani. Okay, we have a question from a journalist from Free Malaysia today. His name is Duri Fong. He tried to connect actually, but you know lah, Sabah punya connection maybe not really 3G. So I will read out his question. He says that this topic, his question, he said this topic not actually about bridges, but actually it's connected juga lah because it's something to do with river. Okay, so he said, I'm eager to hear from what the speakers think about the PITAS students having to go to school in overcrowded boats. Okay, for those who are not familiar with this, it's like, but you have to read the story also because it's there's two sides of the story most probably. One is these kids from PITAS, when they go to school, they are all in a overcrowded in a boat, and it's very dangerous. And then they were given safety vest, and then when they pakai the safety vest, the boat become lagi crowded because of the safety vest that made them a bit bigger lah, I think. So some of them tidak pakai safety vest lah. So we are going to end our forum at 9:30. We just say we give 1 minute each for the panelists. We start with Fozia because she was born in PITAS. Thanks.
Well, you know how big PITAS area is, right? But yes, I am aware of this area. In fact, I heard about it. It starts off now. Mengkapon is, oh gosh, it's such a long way, but it has a primary school where a lot of the villagers are still living nearby rivers, and so those living near the rivers, they use boats to go to school. All right, that's the only form of transportation is through the river. But with this with this flooding recently, that whole road, the road that they sometimes use, is all flooded out, so they couldn't even move. Now, I know that some students, the parents send them to school every day and back and pick them up with their boats. Okay, so I am in fact in the midst of contacting the Ketua Kampung, or not necessarily Ketua Kampung, but those the community there. I believe there isn't asrama in that area in Mengkapon. Is in Mengkapon. There isn't asrama. So once I interview a lot of people, which I normally do, find out what's wrong first. If they, I think they will require asrama for these students who have to ferry every day by boat, which is very, very dangerous. Boats, the river is called buaya, crocodile, and now of course we know there's no life jackets. So all these just means that we have to act very, very quickly, especially addressing the school children. Obviously, if we do get sponsors to build a hostel, well and good, but it will take time. But at the moment, I think the local government over there has got to look into maybe even, I don't know, providing a bigger boat for the students, make it a social welfare kind of a thing. Provide life jackets. That would be the fastest way to address this issue. There's no other way about it. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, thanks, Anwar. Just in case, I just rewind the question by Duri Fong from FMT. His question is, what's your take actually on the PITA student who have to go to school in an overcrowded boat yang quite dangerous? You have short and sweet 1 minute to give your take. Thanks.
I find that very upsetting and depressing watching something like that happen. And of course, what is the reality and what is ideal are two separate things. The solution would be, of course, life jackets and a proper boat and all this. But then again, the reality on the ground is that whether is it available? Are the life jackets forthcoming? And this is something which I think anybody who is specifically within the area should try to do something. For people who are not from the area, I think it will be talking too much in general. Yeah.
Okay, thanks so much, Anwar. Datuk Johnny, 1 minit apa jawapan Datuk Johnny? Mute.
Oke, terima kasih lah apa yang dikatakan oleh Puan Fauzia dan juga Mr. Anwar tadi. Saya rasa perkara itu sudah tentu sekali apabila orang ramai di luar sana itu selalunya akan buat komen mengenai dengan perkara yang kejadian itu. Dan apa yang kita tidak tahu ialah sama ada budak-budak itu yang pergi ke sekolah itu jauh daripada perkampungan mereka ataupun dekat. Tetapi sekiranya budak sekolah itu pergi ke sekolah di seberang sana itu sudah tentu sekali saya rasa satu daripadanya ialah pihak yang berwajib itu haruslah memberi SOP yang lebih ketat mengenai dengan penggunaan bot yang dinaiki oleh murid-murid itu untuk menyeberangi itu supaya keadaan seperti overloaded itu tidak akan berlaku. Kemungkinan itu juga akan berlaku karena overloaded ataupun bot yang mereka naik ini sudah melalui umur yang sudah tua, yaitu mungkin tidak boleh menampung lagi muatan di dalam kapal tersebut yang akan menyeberangi. Dan saya bersetuju mengenai dengan saranan Puan Fauzia tadi bahwa adalah baiknya mungkin sekiranya telah berlaku dan pihak-pihak yang tertentu akan mengkaji dengan keselamatan itu. Dan keselamatan itu satu darinya untuk mau menangani ialah kita harus membina asrama untuk murid-murid ini supaya mereka dapat tinggal di tempat persekolahan mereka, supaya kemungkinan apabila mereka tinggal di asrama tidak perlulah mereka ulang-alik setiap hari, dan kemungkinan mereka lebih selamat untuk menyeberangi di sana. Tetapi boleh juga kita pikirkan bahwa malang tidak berbau apa saja yang akan terjadi. Jadi apapun, bagi saya rasa kita membaca saja dalam keretaan akhbar mengenai dengan perkara itu, dan kita tidak tahu apa sebenarnya yang berlaku mengenai dengan kejadian tersebut. Cuma dalam pandangan saya pihak-pihak yang tertentu itu harus mengambil kira mengenai dengan keselamatan apabila menaiki sesebuah kapal yang akan mengangkut murid-murid itu pergi di seberang sana, supaya kawalan tersebut dapat dikawal supaya is not overloaded. Dan apa yang telah dikatakan oleh Saudara Anwar tadi mengenai dengan mungkin overloaded karena mungkin berat lagi, ada jaket, dan mungkin itu juga membawa kepada keberatan di dalam pengangkutan tersebut. Saya rasa itu mungkin salah satu daripadanya juga, karena life jacket itu juga merangkumi berat untuk seseorang itu. Tetapi sekiranya itu dapat diatasi, kita tidak perlulah untuk mengangkut lebih banyak murid dalam satu perjalanan. Cuma mungkin kalaulah ini adalah dibekalkan oleh pihak-pihak yang tertentu, sudah tentu sekali kita minta juga supaya bot-bot ataupun kapal itu akan boleh menampung mengikut keadaan semasa dan membakalkan bot-bot yang lebih besar dan lebih selamat. So, saya rasa itu saja yang saya boleh komen mengenai dengan hal itu, karena kita sebenarnya tidak tahu apakah masalahnya, dan sudah tentu sekali kita mengharapkan apa saja perkara-perkara yang harus kita tangani bersama. Dan topik yang kita katakan pada hari ini, sudah tentu sekali kita sebagai pemimpin-pemimpin di peringkat kawasan masing-masing akan mengambil tindakan seperti mana yang kita telah bincang tadi. Salah satu tadi ialah mengenai dengan jembatan gantung. Dan selepas itu kita mengatakan mengenai dengan bot karam yang telah pun dibawa oleh kita punya pemerintah dari FMT tadi. Saya rasa ini adalah soalan yang terbaik juga, dan beberapa soalan tadi juga mungkin oleh karena mungkin masa tidak mengizinkan mengenai dengan isu mengenai internet. Sudah tentu sekali I'm just jot a bit lah pemain kawasan. Kita ada 3 tower yang akan dibina, yaitu April 2020, tetapi belum direalisasikan. Jadi saya mengharapkan bahwa kerajaan akan mempercepatkan, dan saya sudah katakan bahwa saya telah menulis satu surat kepada MC dan telah menjawab bahwa mereka akan melakukan tower tersebut pada bulan April tahun lalu, tetapi sampai sekarang belum ada. Jadi saya tidak tahu di mana dia punya kesilapannya, dan kita harap pihak MC akan mengambil tindakan. Mungkin pihak MC sedang berpikir siapakah yang pelaksananya di peringkat negeri Sabah. Dan saya harap kalaulah di peringkat negeri Sabah, saya harap ini perkara akan dipercepatkan, karena inilah isunya, sehingga ada isu budak-budak sekolah itu pergi di atas bukit dan cari lain. Dan ada juga orang bilang kalau tiada lain, sudah tentu sekali memang susahlah untuk semua pelajar. Dan apapun kita juga ucap terima kasihlah kepada kerajaan karena sentiasa peka untuk menangani perkara ini. Tetapi yang penting sekali, orang kata jangan cakap saja, mesti dilaksanakan dengan segera, cepat, seperti mana yang dijanjikan. Oke, so saya selaku pemimpin di kawasan Dun Lima House sudah tentu sekali mengambil berat mengenai perkara ini dan apa yang telah dikatakan oleh Puan Fauzia. Of course, I think generally he's talking about the whole. I think ini masalah seluruh Sabah ini. So thank you Puan Fauzia to Mila. So Anwar also I think I've been talking about all these things. Bukan saya mungkin perkara di Sabah, tetapi harap-harap apa yang dijangkau oleh apa ini yang telah akan dilakukan oleh Saudara Anwar nanti bersama-sama timnya dan begitu kan Fauzia. Bagi saya akan sentiasa mengalu-alukan. Dan kalau ada apa-apa yang perlu daripada NGO di kawasan saya juga mengalokkan untuk menjemput mereka supaya dapat satu gotong royong dan we show the people that this NGO is ready taking care what we are going to do. So of course I will think what can be done for especially my area. Oleh karena pada hari ini thank you kepada saudara kita Philip Holingai yang sudi menjemput saya dan kita dalam satu acara yang untuk mengimbas apa yang ataupun mengulas apa yang terjadi mengenai dengan isu-isu semasa. So of course maybe apa yang saya cakap ini mungkin sepatutnya mungkin tidak cakap dalam forum ini, tetapi apa yang perlu ialah kita mau mengatakan sesuatu untuk kebaikan semua. Jadi apapun saya ingin ucap terima kasihlah karena mengambil bahagian untuk ini. So I would like to say thank you very much to Philip and all the crew and of course all the journalists. I think they are taking what we are talking now and hopefully they will highlight all the things that we are talking about. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much. Duri Fong from FMT, he messaged me. He said, please thank the speakers for me. So on behalf of him, he said, terima kasih. Looks like you all answered his question. Harap-harap ada publicity from Free Malaysia today. Okay, it's already 9:35. We're going to end the session very, very soon. So maybe the panelists, give you all 30 seconds lah kan? 30 seconds. We start with your wrapping punya remarks. I start with Anwar, and then after that Dato' Johnny, and then Fauzia can end it, and then we can say bye-bye to everybody tonight. Okay, Anwar, 30 seconds.
Okay, I'm happy about this forum because it is brought to the public domain the issue about hanging bridges, of which some of us who have lived in the rural areas, which includes all of us here, I think, are very much aware, and it has never been highlighted before. So hopefully, with more public awareness, things can be done at the district level, and it goes higher and higher up to the federal government level. That is what I hope we can achieve through this forum.
Oke, Dato' Johnny, 30 saat dari sekarang.
Oke, ya, terima kasih kepada Philip. Dan saya juga berpandangan bahwa forum ini adalah amat baik sekali. Dan of course, kalau ada forum-forum seperti ini, kita juga mengalokkan lain-lain orang yang akan mengambil bahagian supaya mungkin lain topik, lain orang akan dapat memberi komen-komen apa yang terbaik untuk negeri Sabah, terutama di Sabah. Dan of course kita juga meminta pada kerajaan supaya sentiasa peka mengenai dengan keperluan-keperluan yang diminta oleh penduduk di negeri Sabah. Dan dalam forum ini saya rasa kita telah pun memperkatakan mengenai dengan hanging bridge, yaitu jembatan gantung, dan itulah topik utama pada hari ini, dan saya harap dalam topik ini pihak kerajaan akan terus mengambil tindakan untuk menyegerakan permintaan ataupun permohonan mengenai dengan berbulanya jembatan gantung, dan selepas itu jalan raya mungkin yang rusak, dan selepas itu infra seperti water gravity, dan sudah tentu sekali ini amat perlu sekali, dan bagi kawasan saya ini memang kita akan sampaikan kepada kerajaan, sebab di masa 15 hari bulan 9 banyak lagi outstanding yang belum dapat dilaksanakan, especially kampung-kampung yang dilanda banjir. So ini semuanya perlu ditangani oleh pihak kerajaan, dan of course kita minta kepada pihak-pihak yang berwajib itu akan terus dapat mengambil tindakan, dan apapun saya selaku pemimpin di kawasan Dun Limbahau sentiasa mengambil berat tentang permintaan daripada JPKK di kawasan saya, di mana di kawasan Dun Limbahau ini merangkumi 40 kampung, dan saya boleh katakan bahwa Dun Limbahau ini adalah juga masih lagi banyak yang perlu dibuat. Jadi apapun, terima kasih karena sudi menjemput saya dalam forum kita pada hari ini, dan terima kasihlah seperti mana yang saya katakan tadi, terima kasih kepada semua. Ya.
Thanks so much, Datuk Johnny Mositun. Fauzia, your take, your wrap up.
Okay, thanks, Philip. I just want to say that this forum was brought about, I think, through the Sabah Talk members, if you like. And since we have established a committee to raise funds to repair hanging bridges throughout Sabah, I would like to appeal to all those who are watching us to please donate to our committee. We promise to implement and execute the projects that we will decide upon later on. It doesn't matter how much. I just want to mention there's one particular person, I cannot give the name. Since the birth of Reach Out, which is about 2 years ago, he has been donating 50 ringgit a month, no fail. You know who you are. Thank you very much for your generosity and your loyalty to helping the community. So that's one person that really needs to be mentioned, and I wanted to mention him. So on this, again, I would like to mention the importance of repairing the hanging bridge. And as I said earlier, Yayasan Sabah, boasted 500 million profit last year. It would be really nice if you could donate just a little bit of that to our repair of suspension bridges in Sabah to help us out. Just give a little, just 10% will do. Thank you. It'll go a long way.
Okay, thanks so much, Fauzia. Just a note to the journalists who are hopefully covering this event. Jangan lupa to add in the appeal to Yayasan Sabah who made $500 million, $500 million, tolong-tolonglah donate sikit to this NGO. Okay, it was a really great insightful session for me, and it shows that how passionate Sabahans are about their state, and it also reflected how kind of like sad actually our state even after being part of Malaysia since 1963. But I think with great Sabahans we can do better, and then we can move forward from this. Okay, and I would like to thank also Kopi Kopi FM. It's a great radio station in Sabah. It is a Sabah punya product. I would like to thank Kopi Kopi FM and also Sabah Way Forward for organizing this online forum. And I would like to thank so much the panelists, the Fauzia Stevens, Anwar Ghani, and Datuk Johnny Mositun for participating and sharing your views. Okay, thank you very much to everybody, and see you all soon. Oh yeah, yang paling important pula ni, invite me for that apa ni, sexy gotong royong where we can try apa tu local dia minuman kan ni, macam orange juice kah, mango kah, sugar cane.
Depends. Different areas, different bro.
Oh. So okay, whatever this, I want to go for yang ni na first time, sexy gotong royong. Okay, so I think we wish everybody bye-bye, and then
Okay.
Cabut
Good night,
bye-bye.
everybody.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks.
Bye.
Okay, thanks so much. See you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Philip. Yeah. Sudah. Phew.